as we have spawning down on the bottom right for Berserker Esports, it is ShaDoWn.
And spawning in the top left as the blue Zerg player, he is Bly. Shout out to Guy in chat. I voted for ShaDoWn because the sweater in his photo was dope. There you go. The best possible standard to use to choose who you think will win.
It is a pretty dope sweater. I mean, you look at it, you're like, all right, that's a nice sweater he's got on there. He's rocking that drip. He's got his casting gear ready to go.
Yeah, ready. I mean, I won't lie. You know, we were talking about how October's coming up. It's pretty much October in Europe already, but I'm not sure that that's the sweater, unless it's like he's gonna put on a hat and like a mask and just go Freddy Krueger, in which case that shirt actually could work. I think it needs to be a different color, but I mean, let's face it, you know, budgets can be tight, so I think it'll do in a pinch.
Yeah, the economy's tightening. Freddy Krueger had to give up a couple of his like knife fingers. Jason's mask it's actually just a plain mask with nothing on it.
He had to print it out. Yeah, he had to just print it out on paper and cut holes in it. Yeah. It happens. It happens, you know.
I thought you were going to say he went to his local library and used their 3D printer.
No. No, that'd be too high of a standard. I'm just ready to have a better excuse to talk about horror movies. That's the best part. That's the best part of the month.
Oh,
all the best films. All right, Steadfast, your homework before we cast together again is you need to go watch every Saw movie. Thank you. I need you to give me an essay on what it means to value your life. As I'm just honestly, I was hoping that Bly would just start a lair and interrupt me, but I just kept going and we never got there. So
that would have been kind of cool. Yeah.
Well, you should do that homework. That's not a joke.
I know. I'm probably just gonna submit the paper with I'm sorry, I was too scared, Professor. I'll take the 0.
Okay, that's fair. Well, at least you didn't forget about motherships being knurled, so you got that going for you.
No, that's okay. I did too. I keep thinking about that. I keep forgetting that because it comes up so infrequently these days. Yeah,
so rarely.
We don't see the late game anymore.
A little visual clarity issue on that one, maybe, as the 2 lings do make their way into the main base. Bly's like, you know what? I didn't just build these lings to stop a proxy. If I can kill something, I'm going to. And unfortunately, he doesn't. But he does have the 3rd coming in. And I know we've talked about this, but where did these guys come from?
The other 2. There was 2 sets of 2. Oh, nice micro. Good stuff from ShaDoWn on that defense. That was great. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. I kind of lost my train of thought. So he does have lings coming out with speed, but it's not like a crazy amount of lings. This feels like I don't want to get damaged by an adept poke number of lings. But Bly sometimes will play to that expectation that he's going to cheese you. Like we've commentated, we've seen him in like WCS way back in the day do 1-base Muta versus Terran. Like it's really not outside the realm of possibility that he would literally do the craziest strategy imaginable. But sometimes he flips that on its head and he plays a regular kind of opening just because he knows that some of his opponents will be more defensive.
And it's not that he has, the most amazing macro play, but he has a more than competent macro game, especially in ZVP, where you can force certain responses by doing certain things. He has a great understanding of StarCraft 2, and he always has. And I mean, if he didn't, he wouldn't be the player who won 1 billion online cups, like that wouldn't have been possible for him to have done that. But he has such a good fundamental understanding of the game. Oh, nice little mineral walk right there with the probe. That was nifty. Look at it. He's just juking back and forth.
He's gaming, man. He's gaming so hard right now. That's what I like to see. I remember way back when, this was like true ancient history when StarCraft first came out. They always do these like peripheral deals, and there's like a keyboard and mouse and headset thing that you could get that was tied to like your APM in game. Wow, actually, these lings doing a little bit more than I thought. If he gets the adept, the stalker should die too. That's a little bit annoying because it's just a shield battery. So maybe he doesn't get to kill a probe, but of course there's another warp in there. But anyway, like it would turn colors and would get progressively like closer to red. It would start at green and then go all the way up like yellow, orange, and then red the higher your APM was. So it was like kind of like this cool thing. You feel like the room is heating up around you. I feel like that's a part of the fantasy of StarCraft, you know, like you're issuing commands to these units. You're not on the battlefield, but like that command room, if it was real, would be crazy, right? It'd be people freaking out all over the place trying to issue these orders.
Yeah, it would be an absolutely nutty place to be. Super wild. And I do, oh man, I kind of wish I had that keyboard. That sounds really cool. We are going to see, by the way, Bly is committed to a lot of lings off 48 drones, while ShaDoWn is trying to get very aggressive with a Blink no Forge push, but he didn't have Blink done just yet, and Bly will force him off the map. They both kind of did, I would say, lightly to heavily committed, well, no, relatively lightly committed pressures. But Bly's would have hit a little bit sooner, so they both kind of just end up backing off, and it's ShaDoWn who's able to get a nice recall on out of their good stuff.
So the follow-up transition into charge. Bly's taken a couple of little pokes and prods, but ShaDoWn is actually ahead on workers. He's run into a little bit of a supply block. He only has one pylon about to finish. I think we'll see him maybe try to drop a few more, because if this one gets killed, it gets a little bit awkward. Can't really warp anything in over there is the point that I'm getting at. So lings come over to the third base, and he didn't really stop to turn around and hit that fourth. He has +1 on the lings. So those nibbles are going to be a little bit more painful than average.
20% bitier nibbles is what we're going to be seeing there. Yeah. Our nibbles are now 20% bitier than normal.
R/ brand new sentence. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
That's what I'm here for. That's what they bring me on for. Bly, though, is going into roaches. He's getting that roach speed finished up. He still has the +2 melee. The thing is, you can play a relatively low drone count style with this. He is sneaking up into a better drone count. It just means that you don't have as much reinforcement behind this, but you can still play, you know, 60, 65, 70 drones and still be able to put out an intimidating and scary army. And ShaDoWn, I mean, he is getting into charge. He's getting into a Templar Archives as well. He's still only on 4 gases at the moment. But this is kind of a funny little setup from both players. And now we're seeing an Infestation Pit and a Spire. I wonder if that's for a potential Muta transition, or if that's like he wants to get ready to go up into Broodlords. But if you're going to do that, you would start the Spire usually at the same time as the Hive.
Yeah, it is an interesting thought, because Bly, well, what has he really seen from his opponent, right? I mean, we know about the oracles, of course, and he knew that there is a Stargate. So going straight there, if he gets scouted, the expectation becomes that ShaDoWn will transition to deal with it. So there might be like a backup. Bly is also still one of those players that will do something like a huge Roach Ling Bane or a Ling Bane attack and then go into big Mutalisks. And even if there is that Spire, he'll still sometimes force it anyway, because players that underestimate the Mutalisks and say, like, oh, I could just make Phoenix. This isn't a big deal. And then the Mutas get on your Phoenix for 2 seconds and you're like, oh my goodness, I've actually thrown the game away. And that's the kind of situation that Bly causes. Like, I'd say that's his bread and butter, is causing you to underestimate him because you don't take him seriously, because he is a little bit of a memer, and then boom, you're dead. And look at this, gets the cancel on that northeast base. I actually think he might have killed it. Surrounds the Zealots in the southwest. He's getting that hive up like you were talking about. And I guess he hasn't really made a jump. He has a decent amount of gas, but still just on the Ling Bane for now. Actually starting quite a few more Banelings, and then canceling them because, well, the Zealots are there.
Yeah, tries to go in for that little counterattack. Not going to be able to get it done. Now, ShaDoWn has kind of moved out with a relatively small army. Big Stasis Ward right there. Does catch 11 Lings, which is pretty nice. The rest of the Lings kind of abandoned and left to their doom. Ooh, but this is nice from ShaDoWn. I was going to say, I don't want to see him commit in with the main army, but he's got that Warpism in the main. Will come on in and is going to try and get some damage done. There are some Stasis Wards here, and one of them gets a huge connection. Another nice setup right here. Man, these Stasis Wards are absolutely clutch right here for ShaDoWn. Meanwhile, in the main base, the Queen's, I think, trying to get in on top of that War Prism, but the multi-prong from ShaDoWn is starting to really break through. Ooh, nice job with the Corrosive Biles. Good job from Bly getting a good couple of connections. But with these, this base, this 4th base, seems to be where ShaDoWn is experiencing the most success. Actually, hold that thought. He's going to kill the 5th base as well. Actually, things going pretty well for ShaDoWn on a couple of the fronts.
Yeah, I got a lot of drones with that, and even though the attack got cleaned up eventually, I mean, the Archon's kind of pile driving these Zerglings, so lots killed. He's killed 164 Lings in the making of this film thus far. Resources lost overall is still quite even, but not too far behind on supply from that. However, this is what I was talking about. He's getting ready for a huge attack, and look what's in the production tab. 11 Mutalisks, that +1. I mean, we saw it. He had a hive, and then he started +1 attack. So it kind of felt like he obviously wasn't rushing to a greater spire. So here it is, the Mutalisk backstab. And then another kill. I think he killed that Nexus.
Yeah, he did. This is starting to get a little bit out of hand right here. Now, if these Zealots see the Mutas, that is pretty huge. There's already 2 Phoenix on the map, and if he starts up a couple more, that'll be nice for him. As it is, there is going to be 20 Mutas out all at once. Ooh, did those Banelings? They're going to try and come on in for this base, but a nice little wall right here from ShaDoWn will help keep this alive. More and more Archons morphing on in. The Mutas are going to have +1 attack, and they are going to hit like a truck. There are so few Stalkers. Blink is done, but there's no cannons in the main mineral line. He is not prepared for this properly. He is once again underestimated, exactly as you described. No cannons, no shield batteries. Phoenix going to get jumped on. This is looking so desperate all of a sudden for ShaDoWn.
Yeah, and it's that underestimation that causes you to kind of hold back without even realizing it. Now he's just in a tough spot. The Roach Ravager Lingbane is more than happy to dive on any gateway army that's on the ground. And once those Mutas make it to the Stargate, it's basically done and dusted. He can try to warp in Stalkers, but that Muta count is not going to decrease anytime soon. He's going into +2 on him. He still has 18 Mutalisks alive. He originally built 20, so it's hardly lost anything, and what he's gotten in return has been massive. I think he can actually kind of overpower even the shield batteries on these cannons. So he's going to focus the battery down here, get the last photon cannon, and the economy has been just straight up obliterated. 36 probes, racked and quacked. Now, mind you, he did still lose a decent amount of drones himself, but this is the hard part of using Stalkers. Is now he's got to do 7 bajillion APM trying to kite and follow these, and then never even being able to leave his own base again. If you're Bly, you'd love to be able to get your hands on that cybernetics core, but instead, you'll take the Artosis pylon, shut down those gateways, cut off the head of the snake, kill the production. What's he gonna do? Just keep chasing you with Blink Stalkers? Oh, running into the Lings is not that bad either. They have +2. They can do a lot of damage to them too.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't have minded if he'd even kept fighting with the Lings for just a little bit longer to get on a couple of those Stalkers. But, oh wow, now he actually splits the Mutas up. This is kind of funny. The Warp-In will be enough to deal with this, but he gets a couple more probes for the moment. He is really taxing ShaDoWn's multitasking right here. And ShaDoWn is up to the task. Will lose this Templar Archives. That means no more Archons. So Bly doesn't have to worry about running into anything. There's just the one Archon right here. Bly, this is the most Bly game that this is signature Bly, you know?
Multi-prong Mutalisk harass. Who does that? Who does that? Who uses 2 control groups of Mutalisks to try and kill a Protoss player? I'm not even sure if it's actually helping him. Like, having all of them together to one-shot and bounce on the Stalkers would be pretty nice, but he does have to keep the majority of them in his main base, and this is what we're talking about. When you don't get the read on this, when you don't scout it, if he had seen this far enough in advance to just build another Stargate and he pumps out 2 Phoenix at a time, I think this looks completely different. But that's exactly what Bly does, is he causes chaos. He causes a distraction. He throws the banana peel. Mario spins out. You're looking at him. Meanwhile, boom, you get bombed. And that's it, baby. You get absolutely riggedy wrecked. And ShaDoWn is hanging in there about as best as you possibly can. But how, pray tell, do you move across the map when you have to constantly be running around like this? It's just a nightmare.
It certainly is. I will say, like you said, ShaDoWn is doing an excellent job of holding really as best as he can. And he's still on 5 bases. He's rebuilding probes as they come in. The Stalkers do actually get a nice catch on these Mutas, getting a couple of them right there. This is where things get a little bit dicey, though. The probes, once again, are going to be left in the dust, but even another nice chase right there from ShaDoWn. He is, like, I thought the game would have been over already a minute or 2 ago. So the fact that he's even still in this and has a very respectable army on his hands is quite impressive. But Bly, perfect timing. That was the perfect timing for the butt transition. There's the army on the ground for Bly. It's already quite large. These mutas are still at a point where if the army of ShaDoWn moves out, they're going to kill everything so quickly. These are +2 mutas. They will kill buildings. They will kill probes in a matter of moments. It does not take long for them to get the job done.
Yep, Templar Archives is going to get popped off again, trying to rebuild inside the main. Did get a couple of drones before got cleaned up by the Banelings, but 18 probes killed in exchange. So Bly maintains that lead, and a lot of Lings forming the Northeast expansion. So picking that off as well. And the other side of it too, ShaDoWn, he actually is doing pretty well on supply, but yeah, those gateways, he hasn't really diversified where the production is. We got 2 gates at that Northeast base, 1 gate at the third, Robo's depowered at that third, and then 1 gate in the natural. So most of the production is in this main base, and that's why he's been bullying it. Now he doesn't even have enough warpins to defend himself. That's it. GG. Bly takes game number 1.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh,
look at that.
Oh, that's adorable.
And Bly, he was looking for his moment. He was looking for that opening where he could find his opponent without enough stalkers in one location or another. And to ShaDoWn's credit, he really held on way better than I ever expected would be possible. But ultimately, Bly would not be denied. The Muta Man struck again, and he gets about the most Bly victory you can ever see from Bly.
Yeah, ShaDoWn got Blyed. That's sometimes it be like that. And then we're gonna go to Stargazers. I thought that in this season a player like Bly could be successful because, like we were discussing earlier, this map pool has a much larger ratio compared to previous ones of maps where you have these huge amounts of airspace. You can hide stuff behind the main on multiple maps. You can hide stuff behind the natural on multiple maps. And then Stargazers, which is where we're going next. I mean, there's even more places to keep stuff. You have that huge area right outside that pocket base. And I mean, it feels like there's probably some weird meme build that I don't even know about yet that Bly might show us here, or he just does something like that again, or completely different. It's impossible to predict him. That is his greatest strength. Yeah,
it really is. It's trying to get a hand on Bly and trying to understand what he is doing and what his game plan is. It's like trying to get a hand on the sun. Like, it's just not happening. Like, you're just never going to really know what he actually intends.
It's like it's trying to grab a handful of sunlight. It's not possible. He's trying. He's trying. And we are trying over here in the top left. I like that Bly immediately. We have these like camera. We can see their camera views. And he immediately hotkeyed the camera position on the gold base. In the top left, we have the red Protoss. He's ShaDoWn.
That is actually the most Bly thing I can think of. It's just one of your first actions in the game of StarCraft 2 is to camera hotkey any gold base.
Honestly, I mean, he moved a drone out. I legit thought it was going straight there. I thought he was just going straight there because he cameraed it, but instead he's going to put the hatch in your base.
Yeah, he certainly will. And look at this.
It's just like the fastest Evo block of all time.
Yeah, okay. He did this versus, I think he did this versus ShaDoWn. And ShaDoWn actually recognized that you kind of, you don't need to overreact to this because your opponent is going for the hatchery on the other side of the map. And that's like what the point of this is that you don't have the 225 minerals wrapped up in that hatchery as it's building, because obviously that's what you get back for the refund. You still have 150 minerals net loss because you let the Evo chamber finish, but that extra 150 minerals you get means you can take the expansion behind this a lot faster. Now, is Bly going to be able to get anything with the... Oh, he wants it. Oh! Boom!
There you go. Was it worth
Hashtag
it?
Value.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about the way I think he handled that perfectly, right? Is it safe to say?
He skips the Zealot, so he's able to not have his tech interrupted. He does lose a little bit of mining time with those 4 probes not mining, and that was a decent bit of time that they weren't mining for. Like, it was, what, like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, even, probably 30 seconds. That's a lot of lost mining time. And so with the death of that probe, I think it actually does pay for itself. It's what is the cost of the drone, the cost of the mining time for the drone, plus the 75 minerals lost on the hatch build, and then the 75 minerals for the Evo chamber. Let's call it 250 minerals when you take into account the lost mining time as well. But then he kills a probe, so you can nullify that. I think with a lost mining time, it's pretty much worth.
All right. I'll take it. I mean, Bly is crazy, but there is a sort of calculated air about it. He did win that first game after all. Good control, and now moving right back up to the 3 bases. The Adept kind of dancing around, but not too much to worry about. And for ShaDoWn, it will be the Stargate opener. I think. Well, if you're ShaDoWn, like, what do we honestly think is the move here if something similar happens? You just need to hallucinate a Phoenix Scout or just build a second Stargate no matter what. Once they're on 4 bases, like, just get it, put the down payment on it. You don't need to use it, but just so you have it in the worst case. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
and then the
Stargate is good. What is this double? He just built 2 extractors in the natural expansion. Bly did.
To hide from the Adept, I guess.
Yeah, but then he lets them finish. He just...
Well,
Bly just actually just took a gun out and just, like, he just shot it through himself to try and hit ShaDoWn, and then the bullet missed. Like, so there's just a big hole where Bly used to be. He just absolutely nuked himself with that.
Well, that's, I guess, when he eventually needs gas, he won't have to wait to get it. So theoretically, no, I've got no justification for that. It's a scrappy game. He forces scrappy games. Weird things happen in scrappy games, and that's it. That's all I've got. That's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah, oh man. So the hatchery initially was like pretty worthwhile, I think. Like, or at least it had potential to be, but with ShaDoWn going straight across the map with the double Adept, he gets a bunch of drones, he forces out a bunch of lings, and then also Bly builds those couple of extractors. It puts him so incredibly far behind. Right now, Bly should have at least 10 more workers than he does. But he is actually in a position where he still needs to build spores. His opponent's building a 4th base or a 3rd base for free because of stargazers. Like, this is a disaster for Bly. I feel like there's almost like ShaDoWn will need to make a massive blunder to try and for Bly to be able to come back in this game, and then 4 more drones even going down, and it's going to be double Stargate Phoenix. That's not the kind of thing where your opponent gets back into it when they're behind.
Yeah, well, there's a clear idea here, which is you're not building Mutalisks this game, and the second side of it is, despite everything that's happened, Bly has not really been able to move into any tech. Those extractors, we meme about it, but he's got 3 bases and 44 drones and 3 queens. He is starting a lair, but he has nothing else. So there's no evolution chamber for upgrades. There's no roach warren. There are more adepts in his natural. There's no wall there, so they just go in easy peasy. And no, I agree with you. I mean, ShaDoWn looks like he's probably going to win this game. I don't like to call it, but it will take at least a miniature miracle from Bly. I don't know if he just cranks out queens and builds a Nidus and tries to build spores inside of his base, because there's not really a lot on the ground for ShaDoWn. But with the Phoenix count, and as you pointed out, this map gives you a free 3rd base. I don't really see where he angles his way back into it. Not this time. But I've been surprised by Bly before. So I don't know. Let's let it ride.
Yeah, no, it would take such a big misstep from ShaDoWn at this point. Even without these Phoenixes, it would be ShaDoWn in a massive advantage here. But now these Phoenixes are going to show up. They're going to get a ton of damage done. Bly was on the comeback tour, and then those Adepts got into the natural. They forced out a bunch of Lings. No, there were no Zerglings on the field. Bly was basically just gambling, and it was the right call that his opponent wouldn't build Adepts, and then his opponent built Adepts. And they killed a ton of drones. The Oracles obviously contributed as well. And now these Phoenixes, you mentioned the queen count earlier. There's only 3 queens on the map, which means there's nothing to actually deal with them. They are just going to be able to out-micro the Spore Crawler. 8 more drones falling. ShaDoWn has killed 30 workers in this game, and he is getting into charge and +1. This is looking brutal.
Yeah, that unit's lost is pretty filthy. And you know what they say. They start coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming steadfast. And I have a feeling that that's going to be the theme of this game. The Phoenix will continue to come in and bring the pain. And he's going to have charge. He's going to have +1 charge lots versus what will be a couple of queens, a few lings, and however many Hydralisks he can squeeze out as he's researching the Hydralisk speed upgrade first. So that's not really that great for a fight. He's going to have to get a little closer than he probably wants to be. That's usually the one you take when you want to be aggressive, but I don't know that he can be aggressive considering what we are bearing witness to right now.
Oh, so what do you think Bly's going to go for in game number 3?
Right.
This is getting worse and worse as time goes on. ShaDoWn, he's got the Warp Prism on the way. He's on 10 gateways. That charge is finished up. +1 attack has finished up. Bly is still in drone building recovery mode. Like, I don't blame him.
He hasn't caught up. He hasn't caught up.
Hasn't
ShaDoWn has
exactly.
69 probes, nice, and a 4th base, and charge and +1 are done. So, yeah. Here's what you do, ShaDoWn. You press the A key, you click behind the natural. You've pretty much done all the heavy lifting already. Okay, he's going to split it up a little bit. That's fine, too. The Zealots will 2-shot the Lings, so he can kind of distract him and pull him aside. But what kills the Archons here? What gives with the Archons and the everything else? I think the only thing he needs is, well, he has a Prism, actually, so he doesn't really need anything. Just keep warping in Zealots.
Yeah, the only thing that could win this is a real-life Neural Parasite on ShaDoWn.
Oh yeah. Or like a solar flare that like just knocks out power specifically in his place, and then he asks for a regame instead of a resume. I don't know. ShaDoWn is gonna tie things up. We don't need to be too mean, but he's gonna tie things up. Bly did play a great first game. Things just he didn't really get. I really feel like he just didn't get what he was looking for out of that early poke. And then, like you said, he tried to skip the Lings. The Adepts came in, and yeah. I mean that was just brutal. Let's go to game 3. It's going to be on Tropical Sacrifice. And I think this is probably my favorite map in the pool this season. I feel like we've had a lot of really good games on it. So hopefully we get another one here.
Yeah, it's actually been my favorite map as well, I think. I think I started off with... I was looking at the maps, and I was like, okay, Cosmic Sapphire looks kind of good. Obviously, it's a Zerg player, but then I was like, this feels like maybe... a little bit like unfair-ish, a little bit too Zerg's favored. But in terms of the games themselves, I think Moondance and Tropical Sacrifice have given us the best games from this map pool. And as far as like how the games play out, I definitely enjoy the style of games we get on Tropical Sacrifice a lot more. There's a lot more action happening all over the map.
Yeah. I think so. I think so too. It's like there's enough open spots, there's enough choke points, there's like some good staging grounds for a player that's trying to like secure that 4th base, and it just makes things dynamic because you need to take a slightly more methodical approach to breaking some of these positions. A lot of the other maps, and I think for the last few seasons, they're just so open. You just have all these giant open spaces, and it's just, if you get caught, you just die instantly, and it doesn't feel like that happens as much here. But that is neither here nor there, as we are loaded in the top right. We've got the red Zerg player. He's building a pool. He's Bly. That 12 pool, right?
That's a 12 pool. Spawning down in the bottom left, it is Berserker's ShaDoWn in the blue. 12 pool going to be coming on in. Will we see something spicy with this? Bly sending the drone down at the timing when he would take a hatch. I think if there was going to be a probe there, he was going to fake that. Instead, he will now send it across the map and is going to probably try and wall his opponent's front, or he's going to actually just build a proxy hatch at the 3rd base or in that area and just go for like a big Roach Ravager all in. I think we'll see in a little bit if that's what he decides to go for. Okay, he's just sneaking it around. He wants to block the wall. Oh, and he's going to be able to do it at least for the moment. Oh, but now with that positioning.
Yeah, well, the drone in fisticuffs. The probe is mathematically The worst worker for fighting head to head, right? Because it has less health than the STV. It doesn't regen in combat. You obviously you can pull it away, but then they're not fighting anymore. So you kind of lose out on the numbers. So drone wins that little battle, can take the proxy spot. And is this really just all about the zealot attacking this hatchery instead of being in the wall? That's everything is going to be decided on that.
Yeah, that's what it's. And so you force the zealot into the wall, and then that makes the hatchery get a lot more HP. Oh, ShaDoWn gonna try and get fancy with the micro here. Bly, he's gonna try and catch this zealot, but oh, he will get in behind it. That's the move right there.
You done
He's gonna
goof.
run by. Oh man, and now he actually takes defensive position against ShaDoWn's second zealot. A lot of probes are going to be pulled right here. This is all of a sudden crisis mode here for ShaDoWn. He will keep the pylon alive, so he's not going to instantly lose the game, but this could still get out of hand very quickly.
Yeah, some of the lings are pretty low. Probes are able to tase a few out. Shield battery is starting, but it's a scary situation to be in. It seems like he's dealing with this somewhat reasonably. Let's keep in mind it's 19 probes to 15 drones. He is building a hatchback at home, but ShaDoWn is kind of locked in on one base in this situation, huh? Can't really do much with a hatchery in your natural.
He just lost like 3 or 4 lings, I think, tunnel visioning the gateway there. So Bly trying to out multitask here. Oh, can he get that last probe? No, nice job with the pull to keep that alive. 3 probes do go down. Now, the big deal is that this hatchery is going to take a million years to clear out. It is going to be so long before it goes down. The zealot is going to stay in the wall because he is worried about some kind of attack coming on in. The adepts are going to be used to deal with lings. And behind all this, Bly is slowly droning at home. I actually really like Bly's position here. Oh, I hate where he put that tumor though.
If the tumor finished, then it would have been like absolute meme level monstrosity on this one.
Yeah.
He's continuing to build the lings because I think his long-term goal actually does include trying to get that up because he's building another queen. I don't know. Do you have to send the lings? You have to rally them into the main base to try and pull the units away and then have that opportunity to drop the tumor. But if you're ShaDoWn, like, what do you have to do right now other than defend this? Your number one focus should be making sure a tumor doesn't get dropped. So he's going to put it down. He's got his queen kind of over it, but good target fire from ShaDoWn. It's not going to finish. It does allow him to kill the stalker. What an absolutely strange game we are bearing witness to once again.
Bly doing Bly things, and now the adepts, they kind of miss shade a little bit.
He's ahead on workers.
The natural.
He's ahead on workers now.
Bly is in such a good spot behind us. That's what I'm saying. He's only on 2 hatches. Actually, how many queens does he have at home? Okay, he only has 1 queen.
ShaDoWn never even started warp gate either. Am I crazy? So
no, you're right.
He's caused so much chaos.
That's what I'm saying is this actually has gone so well for Bly, even though he didn't get a ton of damage done. Now, so you asked what ShaDoWn needs to do. He needs to kill so many workers with the Oracle on the other side of the map is what he needs to do. He's going to need to find a lot of damage. Bly, I think, built a few more lings than he probably needed to on his opponent's side of the map. Like,
whoa.
Oh, wow. Okay, he's just going to sack it. That's
a power move.
I don't think that's worth it, really. Bly, though, just built 4 overlords at a time. That's
well, he got
way too much. He just built a 5th.
Hashtag just Zerg things, you know? You've got...
Oh, boy.
He just lost 7 drones. Time to boot up 2 more overlords. Gonna lose a couple more here. I don't know. I actually...
So this should be the wrong decision.
I'm gonna trade my oracles for your drones, but he actually pushed him down to like 15 drones there for a moment.
Yeah.
And now ShaDoWn's pretty far ahead on workers, and he's expanding to the 3rd first, which I feel like is still a mistake because Bly with the speedlings, he could shut that down too. Right?
Yeah, with no oracle, it could be a little awkward. I don't like that Bly, like, oh man. Bly, once again, his like droning cycles really biting him in the butt here. We are going to see these adepts shading on forward. They will try and get some drone damage done. They'll grab 3 drones. Can he get a 4th? That one is wounded.
This casting this series feels like a fever dream, Steadfast. I'm just...
And Bly's doing something right.
I'm going to wake up in a cold sweat and it's going to be like, oh yeah, day 2 is starting. Be like, oh no!
Oh, that warp gate. Oh no. Actually, hang on. Those are his only 2 gateways. If he kills this pylon, There is actually no production, and there is only 2 Adepts on the map. He's going to try and kill the pylon. He's a little bit late to do so. Oracle will come in. If Bly was about 5 seconds earlier right there, he shuts down production. There's only 2 Adepts on the map, and he can really ruin ShaDoWn's day. But instead, he's not going to be able to do so. Bly is still committing on an incredibly low worker count, and it feels like the fever dream is turning into a fever nightmare here for Bly.
Well, I mean, we had the discussion about the sweater already, but it feels a little bit fitting. The question is, whose hands are the claws on? So far, seems like ShaDoWn's. And he's getting resonating glaives, which, as far as dealing with a mass ling flood in a PvZ goes, pretty good option, right? I think we can all agree on that. The Lings are heading for that 3rd base, but there's a shield battery. There's still a lot of Adepts, and he's ready to go across the map. He's like, you know what, Bly? Maybe I wall my natural off. Is that what comes next? Yeah, he warps in to block that. You might need 1 or 2 more. The oracles will help stimmy that defense, and I think these Adepts he has no answer for.
No, he certainly does not. Not on his side of the map, at least. The Adepts are going to shade forward into the main base. The drones were already pulled, which means, unfortunately, they were right in on top of the Adepts. It is now 42 probes to 26 drones. ShaDoWn is taking his natural expansion, which is, of course, his 3rd base, because that's how this game has turned out. Adepts are going to be covered by the oracles, and this is just all over. He can't even hold this. The Adepts are killing so much. Bly is the kind of player who might still stay in the game, even after taking this kind of damage. But, I mean, it's unrecoverable, realistically.
He's got 22 drones to 44 probes, and well, if you're ShaDoWn, do you just like drop like 3 or 4 more gateways and then just build more Adepts? You know he doesn't have anything else.
I mean, I think, to be honest, you just get ready to drop the hottest track on Bly, because this one's already over, and it's just about the mixtape at this point. You just want to make sure.
Are we already looking at like the weekend remix e-sync single afterwards? We're like, yeah, you know, we had the original track, but now we're going to put together the house version. Then we need the club version, then the radio edit. I think we're already onto the part where they collab with somebody else and somebody does the backup lines instead of the main singer, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, we might even be on the 2nd remix already. Like, it is that over. Like, you're like, wait, why does Rocket Man not have Rocket Man in the song anymore? What happened to me?
They're actually about to release the special vinyl edition of this game.
The Star Wars holiday episode of this game.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Man.
What a fun day. This is our last European match of the day, I'm pretty sure, too. So what a way to go out on this bad boy. And then we move into, we got the LATAM finals, I think, right? We got some best of 5s coming up.
We do. We're into
Terrans and
playoffs.
Zergs. Yeah, we got some Terrans and Zergs. It's going to be a lot of great stuff to look forward to. And the games have lined up pretty well. We won't have to have that super long break, I don't think, before we go into it. So that'll be nice. Be nice. Lots more games coming up today. I still don't see any way forward here for Bly. I'm sorry, guys. I can't even do the caster thing and try to pretend it's a little bit bleak today on this one. And ShaDoWn making a case for why he should be able to get out of this group. Let's not forget, he did start 2-0 in this group, so this is a really nice win for him. Puts him a little bit more firmly in